This is a demonstration of test-driven development using Java. The purpose is to illustrate the basic mechanics of the TDD cycle and the sort of workflow that usually goes along with it. To do that, let's write a Hello World application. We'll be using the Eclipse IDE, and the version control system will be Git. Don't worry if you plan to use different tools in real life, just focus on the TDD workflow. Okay, here's Eclipse. Let's start by creating a new project. To do that in Eclipse, we right-click in the Package Explorer pane to open a context menu. Here's what that looks like. From the menu, we choose New, and then Java Project. This opens a dialog window where we can define our new project. We'll call it Hello. On my system, I already have a default location for projects, so we'll leave that as is. Eclipse calls that a workspace. Other tools have different names for the same concept. We can use the system default JRE. In this case, it's Java 8. Under project layout, we'll keep the default option to separate the source and class files. Now I'm going to choose Next rather than Finish because there's a little more configuration I want to do. When we use test-driven development, we want to keep the production source and test source separate. We aren't going to deploy anything related to testing, so things are easier if the two are separate. There are different ways to do this depending on how each programming language works. For Java, the most convenient way is to place the source files in different directories while keeping both in the same Java package. I'm going to set up the same directory structure that Maven uses by default. We aren't using Maven for this example, but it's a very common structure that most Java programmers are familiar with. First, we choose Create New Source Folder. Now we'll enter the folder name for the production source files. It will be src for source, and then main, which is where the production sources will live, and finally Java, the name of the source language. Projects might have components written in multiple languages, so the naming convention allows for that. Now we press Finish. You can see we now have two source folders. Let's repeat the process to create a folder for the test sources. First, we'll choose Create New Source Folder, and the name will be src again, followed by Test, and then the language name Java. And we press Finish again. So now we have three source folders. We don't need the original default source folder, src, so we can remove it. First, select the folder we want to remove with a single click. Then we choose Remove Source Folder, down here. And now we have the two source folders that we want. Eclipse displays them with a special icon. You can see it's different from the icon used for src, which is no longer registered as a source folder for this project. Other tools have similar features. So now we can press Finish, and we have created our Hello project. Now we need to connect this project with a version control system. Eclipse happens to come with support for Git, and I happen to have Git installed on my system already, so let's use it. Select the project name in Package Explorer and right-click to open a context menu. Somewhere near the bottom of the menu there's an option Team. Hover over it to open a second level menu. Now there are only a couple of options on the menu right now. That's because we haven't connected the project to a version control system yet. Once we've done that, this menu will offer several more options. The exact options depend on which version control system is used. For now, let's choose Share Project. We're going to configure a local Git repository for the Hello project. Let's leave the defaults as they are and choose Create. I'm going to change the location and put the repository in my Documents folder just because I want to. Now I press Finish to create the repository. Eclipse shows us what we're asking for. We have a Git repository, and it's located outside the Eclipse workspace, which is important to Eclipse. And we've connected our Hello project to it. This looks okay. So I'm going to press Finish. All right, so let's take a checkpoint here. What have we done so far? We created a project. We set up the directory structure we want. We connected the project to a version control system. Everything so far has been set up for greenfield development. If you're coming into an existing project, these things would have been done already, but it's good to know why we set things up in a certain way to facilitate TDD. Now we're ready to start test driving our Hello World application.